Okay. Here we go. Gonna have a nice fun stream today. Okay. Okay, let me post this on Twitter and okay, here we go. Hey everyone, hey Minion Dave, KC, Dominic, Humberto. Hey guys, what's up? How you guys doing? Anyone need help with anything? Send me an invite. I'm good, Paris. How are you? Yup, Coke production speed is 2 times this week, and you can also make it go insanely fast also with the boost. Haven't done one of these in a long time. Might as well do it. Did it crash here? Oh no, it's the car. Okay. No audio? No, wait. Can you guys hear me? It's in the water? Oh. Yeah, okay. Can you guys hear me? Is my my mic okay? Okay, audio's working, okay. It's going good, how are you? Okay, come on, come on. 25,000, okay. It's my 21st birthday. Oh, happy birthday, Danilo. Everyone wish Danilo a happy birthday. How you doing, dude? I hope you're having a great birthday. Yeah, Detroit Become Human is a game I'm willing to play too, yep. Sometime this year I'll play New Vegas. Okay, we help Kirsten then here. Let's do it. Solo grinding guide video this weekend. Pat. It's going to be for this week coming up, and I also want to get that PvP video out too. Yeah, I want to get that one out as well. Hey, Pro, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, Jimmers. How are you doing, dude? It is the 1st of February, right? Can you guys believe that we're already in the 2nd month of the year? It is in 9 months, well, 9.5 months, GTA 6 comes out. 9.5 months. Have you considered streaming on Twitch? Not really, because I don't really want to separate my community. Did I have a nice January? Yeah, it was okay. Thank you, Aaron. It was just a bit cold in January, but I don't mind it personally. Thank you for the super chat, Aaron.
Because the buyer wants the product biked into the back of a truck. It's good to go when you are.
Are you still sure that GTA 6 comes this November? Yeah, I don't think it's gonna get delayed again, dude. Yes, you are exactly right, Minion Dave. Don't believe in a delay unless Rockstar confirms it. Yeah, snow's been a bit rough this winter. No, no, they're not working on GTA 7. Here's the reality, guys. GTA 7 is not gonna come out until probably 20 years from now. Probably 20 years. Like, I'm 31, so I'm probably gonna be in my 50s by the time that GTA, 7 comes out. That's probably how old I'm gonna be. Hey, Pro, can we maybe do, my aggressive gold casino heist later on? I'm on my, male character, and I'm trying to get my male character up to speed, Okay, yeah, 20, thank you for being a member 29 months for, 2.5 years. Thank you, JBK. And yeah, we can do it. Just make sure to remind me. Make sure to remind me later, and, we can do it. I'll be in my 60s, so you're about 10 years older than me, Zach? Do you think there was any plausible scenario where Germany wins World War II? I love your takes on history. The thing is that the biggest downfall that Germany had during World War II was invading the Soviet Union. That was their biggest downfall. And, some people argue that the Soviet Union was eventually planning on attacking Germany, but even if they were, that they would not have attacked for another, 3 or 4 or maybe 5 years. So they were nowhere near ready in 1941. And that was just a disaster because it stretched Germany's supply lines. If Germany had just stayed on the Western Front and fought primarily against Britain, and just isolated Britain, eventually maybe Britain would have, they wouldn't have surrendered, but they would have maybe agreed to reach a peace settlement. That's what maybe might have happened. But it was Germany got greedy, they decided to invade the Soviet Union, overrun Eastern Europe, and that was that. And it was also that Japan, also, you have to remember, declared war on America. They bombed Pearl Harbor, and then what happened was Hitler was so stupid that he decided to declare war on America. And part of the Axis Pact, Hitler actually did not have to declare war on America because the pact said if Japan gets attacked, Germany would come to their aid. But Hitler, being stupid, as he is, he declared war on America anyways, which brought America into Europe. Do you consider Glory to be the best Civil War movie? One of them, yeah. Definitely, Why did Rockstar decide not to update Vic's appearance in GTA Vice City Definitive Edition? Because they're stupid and lazy. You know, they had Grove Street Games, and it was just, you know, it was a disaster of what happened. You know, I really wish they would have changed Vic Vance's appearance. I really wish they would have made him look like he looked in Vice City Stories. Like, they should have made his Vice City Stories appearance in Vice City Definitive Edition. That's what they should have made him look like. It was only 2 years. There's no way, like, you know, if you look at what Vic looks like in 2 years, he turns into an old man. And it looks like he can barely lift those 2 cases, like when he's walking to Tommy. Like, he's struggling with them. Like, Vic was a soldier. And, like, you're telling me this guy becoming, like, this fragile old man in 2 years? And, like, it's ridiculous. Can anybody here tell me in the comments, how old was Vic Vance in Vice City Stories? He was in his late 20s, wasn't he? What was his age in Vice City Stories? Can somebody tell me? He was late 20s, right? That's how old he was? Because I never liked how he looked in Vice City. He looked too old in Vice City. I know Vice City came out before Vice City Stories, but they really should have changed his appearance for the definitive edition. "28. So he would have been 30. So he would have been younger than me at the time of Vice City. You know, I'm 31. So why does he look like an old man in Vice City? It's like, I never... So stupid. He literally looks like an old man in Vice City. They should have changed his appearance in the definitive edition. The Nazis were like 300 Spartans. They just couldn't win because the opposition had too many soldiers. I would not compare the Nazis to the Spartans, and the reason I wouldn't is because the Spartans were not the aggressors. The Spartans were the defenders, where the Persians were coming in to try to conquer them. The Nazis were trying to conquer everybody. And then eventually the war got pushed into their country, and they got overrun.
I can't escape. Cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I know, like, Vic looked like an old man in Vice City. And I will say this, in Vice City Stories, Vic didn't even look to me like he was 28. He looked to me like he was in his 30s. I know he was in his 20s, but he looked to me like he was in his 30s. What happened? You unadded me? No. What's your PSN D money? People did look older back then. Not sure what. Well, it's probably because they didn't eat so as healthy and didn't have all the same medication that we have today. Are you excited for Kiwami 3? Yeah. I'm almost done with Kiwami 2, or I think halfway done through it. I'm gonna take this road. I'm just so sick of taking the hills. I'm just gonna take this road here. I'm just so sick of the hills. GTA 6 needs a dark story like Red Dead Redemption 2. Well, even like GTA 4. The M1928 can accept drum magazines. The M1A1 only accepts stick magazines. You're talking about the Thompson, right? Yeah, the 1920s Tommy gun. Yes, that one did take drum magazines, and they had the stick magazine one. I personally think that the I might have a controversial opinion, but I think that the grease gun is probably better than the Thompson in World War II. I know some people might say, how can you say grease gun is better? Um, I think the grease gun is better because it's a simpler design, it's cheaper to manufacture, and on top of that, it has a slower fire rate. And people think that just because a gun has a faster fire rate, it automatically makes it better. But when you're firing, 45 ACP rounds, and you're firing that insanely fast, that's going to be very difficult to control. The grease gun, because it has a slower rate of fire, it's easier to control and hit your target more precisely. The grease gun was also better for tank units. So for tankers, the grease gun was better than the Thompson. Wasn't as big. Who still uses it, Zach? Hey, Pro, what interest rate did you lock in on your investment properties if you financed them? I didn't lock them in at any rate. I paid cash for them. It was just, years of everything that I, put together in my YouTube channel plus my retail job, and I just put that in. I spent like 90% of my money on them. Uh, yes, there is a variant of the grease gun that accepts the suppressor. You are correct on that. It appears in Mafia 3 also. The MP40, M38, or the grease gun, which SMG is the best? MP40. MP40 is the lightest out of all of them. The grease gun is actually pretty heavy, even though it's not that big of a gun. The MP40 also fires 9mm Parabellum, which is much easier to control than 45 ACP. And grease gun, how many is in the stick magazine for the grease gun? It's 20, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Grease gun holds 20 rounds in the stick. MP40 holds 32. So, and MP40 I would just say is probably overall the better weapon. Probably the best SMG of World War II. It's 30? Oh, okay. Huh. Can I do geo-test videos for GTA 5? What's that? You know one thing that I did cringe at? When developers don't really understand firearms too well, they make these very silly mistakes in their games. I thought the most ridiculous scene was that scene when the female cop lady, she gets sniped in the arm in Yakuza Kiwami 2 when she's in the car of Kiryu, and then like they're all like, that must have been an expert sniper. An expert sniper took that shot. That's what they were like. Well, that was not even a great distance. That was less than 100 meters. Kiryu could even see the sniper's face. That is like 100 meters is almost nothing for any sniper. That's so like they were acting like it was some insane distance in like Yakuza Kiwami 2 when it was in reality like 100 meters is almost nothing for a sniper. PPSH is the best submachine gun of World War II. Debatable. About the PPSH, do you know why? Do you know something about the PPSH? The stick magazines for the PPSH were actually invented after the drum. The gun initially came with the drum. Do you know why they made stick magazines for the PPSH? Because the drum, it would constantly jam. Okay, display. Let me see here. Performance mode. Yeah, thank you guys for telling me that I'm on fidelity. I keep forgetting that I'm on fidelity. Thank you, everybody. Well, here's the problem though, Jimmy. Um, and this is the problem that I think a lot of people don't get about that, is that when it comes to investment properties, right? Uh, people basically do you know what the stupidest thing that people do with investment properties is? Probably the stupidest thing people do. The dumbest thing I think I've heard about people doing is people will take out like an insanely large mortgage. Like they'll take out like a really really big mortgage, and I'm saying like close to $1 million. And you know what they will do? They'll use that mortgage to basically buy like five houses. And where I live in the Midwest, yes, you could buy five houses for $1 million. So like you could find houses for around $200,000 each. And so somebody what they will do is they'll take like $1 million loan out, right? And then they'll buy like five houses, and then they're basically like, oh, it's free money. I can just put up the rent out the five houses, and I'll get it'll pay off my mortgage. But what they don't understand is that there is unforeseen circumstances that happen, because first of all you have to count on the fact that you're even going to get tenants in the first place, because you might not even get anybody for those houses, and now you have five houses that you just owned, that you bought, you're $1 million in debt, and don't have anybody renting out. And on top of that, you could have bad things happen. Stuff can break in the house, and as a landlord you are responsible for fixing that stuff. And then on top of that, you could also have really bad tenants. People who trash the house, don't pay rent. You gotta kick them out, evict them. You gotta pay for damages in the house or take them to court, which is a lengthy process. And the mortgage company isn't gonna be like, oh yeah, we'll wait for that. They're gonna want their money now. So that's what I think is the stupidest thing that people do, is when people just basically they buy multiple properties. And there's nothing wrong with taking out a mortgage to get like a rental property, but if you're gonna do that, only do it with one rental property. That's it, just one. Don't do it with multiple. Never take out a mortgage on several rental properties at once. Never do that. If you're gonna do it, only do it on one. Don't ever do it on multiple. It's really asking for trouble. But that's people constantly do that all the time. They take it out. They think like, oh, I'm gonna rent out multiple properties and I'm gonna get free money and stuff like this. It doesn't work like that. Oh, I'm not saying to buy in cash, to Tuan. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if somebody's gonna buy a rental property, buy only one, and then pay off the mortgage, and then once the mortgage is paid off, you can start saving up for the next one. But don't ever buy multiple with the same one. That's the point I'm getting at, Tuan. I'm not saying to necessarily buy a house all in cash. I bought it all in cash because that was what worked for me and it helped me out. But I'm just saying is if you're gonna do it, only do that with just one property at a time. Too many people, they do it. They literally will just buy multiple properties at the same time. It's a disaster waiting to happen if they do that. Oh. Oh, anybody here play Twisted Metal 3? You have literally the same skin for that car as in Twisted Metal 3. And I just saw there. Okay. Yeah, and the thing about the Airbnb stuff is, I wanted to try that out in the future. I wanted to probably try it out with a single property in the future and see how it goes. Maybe like a small condo. And I was thinking about getting it in Anchorage, Alaska, for like tourists there, because people do come in the winter for skiing, and they come for ice fishing and hunting and all the other stuff. And then in the summertime, people also come there to relax for the beaches and stuff. But I'm scared, because when it comes to Airbnbs, you have people constantly going and leaving, and with that, I'm just scared that tourists are going to trash my condo. That's what I'm generally scared about. I still want to try it, but I'm just scared that they're going to trash the condo. Don't they have to pay an exorbitant amount of property tax also buy properties? Yes. And also, I will say this: if you are a landlord, you have to pay a higher property tax. That's how it works in most states. And the government is going to know if you're a landlord. They're going to know. Even if you don't tell them, they're going to know, because it's not your primary residence. If you have multiple houses and only one is your primary residence, they're going to put two and two together and be like, oh yeah, this guy's a landlord, and then they're going to give you a higher property tax bill. So I agree with you. Property tax is stupid. Yeah, I will agree with you. It's like you're paying rent to the government. What the? What did I just hit? Okay. There we go. Done. What you mean? You mean you tried to do a property manager for the Airbnb, Jimmy? Is that what you're saying? Started watching The Sopranos. I love it so far. Sopranos is a great TV show. It is. Thank you, Own Titan.
That's a...
What happens if you install a hidden cameras in an Airbnb? You're gonna get sued. That's what's gonna happen. Because that's a violation of privacy. You cannot spy on your tenants. You can't do stuff like that. You can't do that. No. I have never evicted anyone. I've never had that happen. Did you take out a loan for your bank? No. Thank you, Praise the Dawn, for the super chat. There was a person that was just asking me about that earlier. Security cameras outside? No. There might be some other legal stuff around it outside, like, because outside you could just say, oh, you know, you have a camera to protect the driveway from, like, you know, drunk drivers or something like that. That's basically what you could say, like, you know, to stop, like, so that if a drunk driver crashes into your driveway or something like that. So an outside camera, I guess it's a little bit more debatable, but I know you definitely can't have an indoor camera on a rental property. You can't have that. No, that's definitely a violation of privacy. Damn, okay, this mission is gonna suck.
Hey, what's going on? Okay, my friend.
Oh, great.
I'll take care of the LSPD. Leave it to me.
I saw some old shit in the desert, man.
What's your opinion on the most annoying accent you've ever heard in your life? I don't think I've really heard an annoying accent. No. I don't think I've ever really heard anything like that.
Mayan symbolism.
Yeah, if somebody can help Ben needs help right now. Oh, great. Yeah. Did I lose the cops? Okay, I lost the cops. Okay. Now I'm confused again.
Well, I'm not ruling out extraterrestrial beings.
Who I think would have been Prime Vance crime family or DS Vance. Do you think salvage yard makes you more money than import export? Nah, because salvage yard, it's like a specific set of missions that you have to do. With import export, you steal the car and you deliver it. So while you might get more money for the car with salvage yard, you have to do more missions. Thank you, Pearson, for the super chat. When is the anniversary of the Scarface game? When did it come out? No, I haven't, Victor. I haven't watched Tulsa King Season 3.
I need some wheatgrass, tofu, and some chives.
God, this sucks right now. This sucks. July 25th, 2006. Okay. The mom from Home Alone died. I did hear about that, yes. It's sad. Why, did you specifically deal with that, Jimmy, with a property manager? What countries have you been to? Only to Poland. Okay, where exactly am I supposed to deliver this? It's somewhere here, I know that. I always forget exactly where it is. Oh, here it is. Okay. Have I ever played Thief? Yes, I have Thief for PS4. Probably fly through it, Hyper, Yon. Okay, I can try to change that soon, Anomalous, when I get, I get back home on, Tuesday, so I can try to change that then. Anybody can join me for, if you need help. Oh, so you're saying property managers do that, Jimmy? I could never go on a cruise. It's just not for me. I think it's a waste of money, personally. You're not home, Pro? No, I'm visiting family. I've been visiting family for, like, over 2 months now at this point. I'm gonna, go back home, on, Monday night, but, so Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll be back. I remember that YouTuber, she was that idiot who went outside that guy's house and, like, leaked his address. And that other YouTuber got harassed. I remember that. How am I so consistent on YouTube? I'm just myself. Hey, Ty. Fly, Ant-Man. Are you still accepting randoms after the griefer incident last week? I'll start adding people again, but I'm gonna wait probably a month before I start adding random people again. There was a guy who wanted me to add him from the live stream. For people that don't know what I'm talking about, there's a guy who wanted me to add him from the live stream, and I added him from the live stream, and he came into the lobby and just destroyed cargo and was really toxic and started talking crap. And so I'm just gonna take a break for a month from adding people, but I'll start adding people in the chat again after a month. Which GTA Online DLC, in your opinion, had the worst clickbait? Oh, that's easy. It's a GTA Online DLC that never even came out, Lee. Cops and Crooks. Do you guys remember the amount of Cops and Crooks clickbait? Do you guys remember that? Cops and Crooks DLC coming out this summer. Cops and Crooks, like all the YouTubers talking about that. That was the worst clickbait ever for a GTA Online DLC, was that one. I hated that Cops and Crooks clickbait. It pissed me off so much. Could I say the Mosin Nagant could be the best sniper rifle of World War II? It depends. I think the best sniper rifle of World War II is probably the Lee Enfield. It's probably what I would say. It's probably the Lee Enfield. But there is also a very rare World War II gun that you could argue is the best sniper rifle of World War II, but that gun was in such limited production that it's probably not going to count. I think it's called the Type 97. I think that's the name of the gun. It's a Japanese sniper rifle, and specifically, this rifle was designed to only be a sniper rifle. It was not designed to be an infantry, rifle. I think it's the Type 97. I think that's what it's called. There was only a few hundred of them made, but the reason that I would say the Japanese Type 97 might be one of the best sniper rifles of the war is because the Japanese actually had one of the farthest zooming scopes in World War II. They had, I think it was 8x, so they couldn't zoom in on the scopes, but I think it was 8x magnification. And about the Japanese rifle, this rifle was designed that it had almost no muzzle flash whatsoever. So it's designed that way, and because of that, a rifle that gives you no muzzle flash would probably be one of the best ideal sniper rifles. Pro, is it true you hate John Cena? I wouldn't say I hate him, but I just say I don't respect him anymore. That's basically what I would say about him. I felt like he sold his soul to the communists in China. That's basically what I think about John Cena. During the Second World War, how Italians have worse military and not good vehicles because Americans and British got leader of Italy. Well, the Italians, they never had the industries that Germany had. Like, they had terrible, tanks. Oh, I missed a milestone, chat. I'm sorry. What is your Mount Rushmore of video game protagonists? Nico Bellic would be on there. Who else? Oh, I have to think about this one. Probably Arthur Morgan. The other ones, I don't want to include more Rockstar games. What would I put on there? Like Mount Rushmore video game characters. Maybe Kiryu, but I haven't played that many Yakuza games yet. Aiden Pierce, yeah. How could we forget Aiden Pierce? Put him on there, yes. Fourth one. Probably Captain Price, the original. How come you think cruises are a waste of money? Uh, they're they're really expensive. And if you look at a cruise ship, right? The rooms that you get put on a cruise ship, they're very tight. They're not big at all, and they're gonna cost you hundreds of dollars. And so for me, I could not spend like I could not spend hundreds of dollars on a trip. I'm not a big vacation guy. I'm not that. You know the way that I look at money is when I see money, when I look at money, right? I always think, how can I use this money to get me more money back? That's basically how I look at money. And so, like, for me, something that's not necessarily necessary, I don't really spend. It doesn't mean that I don't entertain myself. It doesn't mean I don't spend on luxuries. But it's just, yeah, that's just the way I've always looked at it, is that it's just cruises are not for me. I just think, personally, they're a waste. What about the boss from the Saints Row reboot? He could be put on the cringe Mount Rushmore. Yes, they did kill the Watch Dogs franchise. It was horrible. Yes, Minutemen are the best faction in Fallout 4. Yes, we will do Mercenaries 2 later this year. I can smell GTA 6 online billionaire already. Well, thank you, thank you, Jai? G? How do I pronounce your name? G? Jai? What currency is that? I don't know if I've seen that one before, but thank you. Do you have any supercars? In GTA Online I have a few, but I don't really use them. Yeah, because I remember what Sniper Wolf did. I remember when she was harassing that guy and leaked his address. I do remember that stuff. Do I prefer the Lone Wanderer or the Courier more? Fallout 3 is my favorite Fallout game. That's the one I've always liked the most. That's why it was the one I chose to do. The reason I like Fallout 3 so much is because Fallout 3 for me felt like the perfect apocalyptic game. Like, if you like, New Vegas did not feel as apocalyptic to me. Like, New Vegas had better RPG elements. I will concede that. Like, it had better RPG gameplay, but it did not have the same apocalyptic feel that Fallout 3 did. What is better, Mercenaries 1 or 2? Well, the engine in 2 is better, and the destruction is better in 2, but I think the story and the map is better in 1. The developers for Mafia: The Old Country answered questions on Reddit and said that when Sam arrived to Lost Heaven, he drifted away from Valentina and joined Salieri looking for a father figure. Well, I'm really curious and he found the worst father figure possible. I wonder if Valentina is still alive at the time of Mafia: The Old Country. That's what I'm curious about. Because that would have been 30 years after, Mafia: The Old Country. She could still be alive, technically. So it's, I wonder if she's still alive during Mafia Definitive Edition. Why was the gang called the Sharks in GTA Vice City Stories? And what was it based on? The Sharks are basically just a bunch of greasers. That's what they were. They were just greasers, but they were really overpowered greasers. And those guys were so strong in 1984. They were ridiculously powerful. So will I never buy a luxury vehicle? No. It depends on what you mean by luxury. If you're talking like some fancy supercar and stuff like that, sports car, no, I'm not gonna buy something like that. That doesn't mean I won't want to have a nice car one day in real life, but no, because the thing is, and this is what people don't understand about luxury cars, right? If you buy a car, right? Let's just say that you spend $200,000 on some ridiculously overpriced luxury car, right? $200,000, right? And let's just say that you park your car, right? And then some idiot scratches your car. Like, he doesn't even, like, fully crash into your car. He's just, like, pulling out. He lightly scratches your car. The paint damage alone on a vehicle like that is going to cost thousands of dollars. And vehicles lose, like, 20% of their value in just, like, a few years. It's like, a car is basically a money pit. That's what it is. So, like, I could never buy an expensive car like that. Like, I could never buy something like that, like a $100,000 car. I would never do that. Like, I would feel sick to my stomach even owning a car like that. I feel like I'm losing money, like, every day. That's what I feel like. I'd look at it in the driveway and be like, well, why did I buy this thing? That's basically what I would be like. So, no, I could never buy a car like that. No. I would always buy used cars. That's what I would do. So, just no. Thank you, Aaron. And thank you, Victor. Spoken like a true capitalist. Well, thank you, Danilo. What does a consigliere do in the mafia other than giving advice to the boss? Consiglieres, a lot of times are involved in business transactions. So, consiglieres are great for negotiating. So when a mafia family is negotiating with another mafia family, or they're to another gang specifically, a lot of times they're going to send their consigliere over. The consiglieres are usually the guys who do the business deals. They're usually really good with that stuff, going through the paperwork, getting everything done. So that's it. So consiglieres aren't just good for advice. They're very good for setting up contacts with people, talking to people. I mean, just think of Leo Galante in Mafia 2. He's the guy who sets up all the deals for Frank Vinci. And also, the consigliere can also be the one that is going to negotiate when something bad happens. So not just when there's a deal, but when something bad happens, he can be going to negotiate. Like when you saw Leo negotiating with the triads for Frank Vinci. I heard Rockstar admitted flying cars was a mistake. Where is that rumor coming from? Can you tell me where that rumor is coming from, Daniel? Like, on my last stream, people said that to me too, that Rockstar admitted that it was a mistake. But where is that rumor coming from? What is the source of this? Does anybody know in the comments? Yes, Zach, one day. Are consiglieres made? Of course, yes, they're made men. They're very powerful made men. Later this year, I'll have a Leo Galante lore video. The next one I want to focus on Zero from San Andreas. Well done on getting 100% completion in San Andreas. Thank you, dude. "5 years ago, I lost 30,000 men in the blink of an eye, and the world just watched." That's from General Shepard. That specifically, I know that. No, I don't know anything about cars, Mista, so I wouldn't. Orbital Cannon is the worst addition to GT Online. I think it's the Mark II, but yes, I would see that, too. Daniel, where is that rumor coming from? The rumor about Rockstar regretting the futuristic vehicles. You're the second person that's talked to me about that. I've had other people also tell me about that. Where is this rumor coming from? The Sniper Elite Resistance DLC missions, I'll do those later this year.
Looks like...
Yes, lore I'll do for GTA 6.
whoa, don't mind me.
Not really much, Zach, just the first episode. Who do I think is the nicest Don in the Mafia games? That is either Don Galante in Mafia the Old Country, or it is Sammy. Oh wow, look, there's one right here too. I saw it from a random page on Instagram. Can you tell me what this page is, Daniel? I'm gonna get E, by the way. E's mine. Yeah, the GTA 3 M16 fired like a minigun, yes. Favorite protagonist in the Mafia series, probably Enzo.
What's up with you, you clumsy bitch?
Are there any cops anywhere? You have to look for cops in these, because sometimes there's undercover cops hidden. We're gonna find out right now if there's any undercover cops hidden here. I will get C. The real worst thing I did to GTA Online was the Arena Wars DLC. Overpriced, worst payout system. Yes. No return on investment. Yes. I don't think I've made my money back from Arena Wars. Like, it was like, I spent over $30 million in Arena Wars with the amount of all the vehicles I bought upgraded and stuff like that. And the fact that you had to buy two variants of the vehicles, a futuristic variant and an apocalyptic variant, like you couldn't just change it whenever you want, it would be separate vehicles, it was stupid. Any least part you don't like about the Mafia prequel? Oh crap, don't put it there. There's a cop. Ferris, do not put it there. There's a cop. I'm gonna... Oh no. Okay, get out of here, yep. That's those undercover cops hide at certain locations. Maybe the thing I didn't like about Mafia the Old Country was that there wasn't any really side activities until at least Free Ride came out. Probably that. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Bunny. 51 months. Thoughts on Angry Joe putting Mafia the Old Country as 6 on worst games of 2025? What? No. It is not. Oh, no, it is not a bad game by any means. What was Angry Joe thinking? Come on, dude. Thank you for being a member of my channel for four years, buddy. But I don't know what Angry Joe is thinking sometimes. Do you think Sam Hauser will resign because of what he and Leslie Benzies were accused of in the Epstein files? It was pretty bad. Um, I have to look at that whole thing. I heard about that. People told me about that stuff. I gotta look into that stuff. That's this. But if they did that, that's disgusting. That is just that they should definitely resign. Does anyone else need help? When am I gonna make the Johnny Clubbis lore video? This year, Agent. I don't know when, but it will be before GTA 6 comes out. Sean was a great character in the Saboteur Extreme, yep. I like the storyline for Faber. I'm, excited to see what they do with him in the next GTA DLC. Can you help me, please? Sure, invite me. Heavy Rain? I actually played Heavy Rain when I was a kid. I actually have a Platinum Trophy in Heavy Rain. But I never played it on the channel. But yes, that's a game I could definitely do a playthrough of. I might, Lay. Even after everything you've done, I would have saved you. Doesn't Batman say that? You know the physical version of GTA 5 came with 7 discs? What? What do you mean, on the Xbox version? Okay, let me help Fixated here. I'll help him first. I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse. That's Godfather.
gonna make this sale?
Now my insurance is fucked. Place has gone to shit.
I will play Spec Ops: The Line this year. Yes, I'll do a playthrough of that. I like old games a lot of times, and what I like the most about old games is I like sharing them with people that like never had like seen those games before. So like a lot of the games I played on my channel, a lot of you guys probably have never heard of them before. They're great games that I played when I was a kid. That I introduced a lot of people to these games. You know what I'm gonna do a playthrough of in March? On March 24th, I'm going to do a playthrough of this game called Ace Combat Zero. It's going to be the 20th anniversary of Ace Combat Zero, which is argued probably one of the best Ace Combat games, if not the best one, and I will have a playthrough of that one. It's going to be a very good one on that. Well, about SOCOM, though, we're going to do SOCOM 3 in spring also, Suhayab. So SOCOM 3 is a game that's been requested for some time. We're going to do that, too. That's my birthday. Oh, well, happy birthday then, Daniel. True Crime, I'll make time for them this year also, yes. Do I like puzzle games? It depends on the type of puzzles. GTA 5 on PC launched with 7 discs. What? Hey, Pro, how's it going? Do you know, Mansion Boost, can be used on bunker research? Yes, I know about that one, yes. Thank you, Jakey, for the, super chat. Thank you, man.
Hey,
Thank you, I think that was the largest super chat today. Thank you, dude.
I'll get him off your back.
Yeah, so if you don't have bunker, research done, you can get it done with that. I thought you quit GTA Online. What made you think of that? I still do plenty of content on it. And I got a guide coming out this week coming up on it. What do you think caused Watch Dogs' downfall? Stupid developers. Stupid developers that did not give the series the love it deserved. Who's my favorite ex in real life mob guy who's on YouTube now? Well, I probably Michael Franchise, if anyone. I've seen a lot of his videos. Thank you, Daniel. I'm going to get level 1000 for the trophy. Any advice? Yes. Get 5 warehouses. Sell, 1 crate each from each warehouse, and that will basically give you, you know, close to 7,000 RP, because it's 2,400 RP for delivering it, no matter how quick you deliver it, and then it's like 5,000 RP for also the 5,000 RP for the sale. The thing about Watch Dogs Legion is, here's the thing is about Watch Dogs Legion. I don't think that Watch Dogs Legion failed for the reason that people think it failed. People think that Watch Dogs Legion failed because of all the playable characters, but maybe I'm one of the few people that I actually like the new system. I like the system of actually choosing your character in the world, and like, you know, all these characters have different skills and you like create your own team. I actually like that. I thought that was cool. It made the game unique, that like every NPC could be playable, and it could be like, they could be having like different abilities and stuff like that. But what I thought was the downfall of Watch Dogs Legion, it wasn't necessarily the character creation and all the other stuff. What was the downfall of the game specifically was the lack of hacking in the world. The hacking sucked in Watch Dogs Legion. It did. There were some things that you could hack, like drones, and you could jump on them and stuff like that. But the thing is, just look at like Watch Dogs 1. In Watch Dogs 1, we could blow up a generator that could basically knock out, like, you know, the power to an entire neighborhood. We can open up and close bridges. You know, we could do stuff like that. We could blow up the street, like you could blow up the pipes underneath the street. Like, the hacking was actually really fun in, like, Watch Dogs 1. You know, stuff like that. You could hack the trains and move the trains around. And the thing is the train system in Watch Dogs Legion, tell me if you guys agree with me on this, is literally one of the stupidest train systems I have ever seen in a video game. Like, there's no fun to the trains in Watch Dogs Legion, because in Watch Dogs Legion, the subways are just basically like a fast travel point. You just run up to it, and it's like, where do you want to fast travel? Stuff like that. But in Watch Dogs 1, like the Chicago trains, you could actually like ride them, jump on them, stop them, you get inside them, things like that. And so, like, that's what I hate about Watch Dogs Legion, is that you can't even ride the trains. Like, I wish you could run down the subway platforms themselves and actually jump on the trains and stuff like that. Like, I wish you could do that. But no, it was just that. It was just... Watch Dogs 1, the hacking was just so much better than in Watch Dogs Legion. Your Black Ops 7 review was great. Thank you. If you weren't doing YouTube, what would you be doing? Oh, I don't know, Daniel. Maybe something in law enforcement. Yeah, I don't know. The map was terrible in Legion. Yeah, I will agree with you on that. It was kind of boring. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Chicago was a really great map in Watch Dogs 1. Like, that was a good one. I haven't played Watch Dogs 2, which I gotta get to it one day. But Chicago, I really like Chicago as a map. Oh, Dark Souls, maybe I could do it one day, but I would probably be screaming because it would just make me rage. Oh, thank you, Aaron. What's my least favorite episode of Sopranos? Mine was Vito Jr. taking on the gym shower. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. Maybe some of the episodes in Season 1, I didn't like them because they were just so cringe. Like, they were just, they were pretty, like, yeah, some of the episodes in the first season were a bit cringe. You know what scene I hated the most in what scene I hated the most in The Sopranos? The scene I hated the most in The Sopranos, you guys remember that scene? It was like such a cringe scene. It was where, like, Chris goes to pick up some it was like he was picking up a cake or something at a bakery, and when he was going to pick up that cake at the bakery, there was like a guy that looks just like Vito, and his name was like Gino, and it was apparently the same actor, but that was before Vito was created as a character, so like they rolled with the name Gino, even though he is Vito, And then what ends up happening is the guy's like, oh, you're not in line, and then Chris takes out his gun and he's like, I want this, that, and then he ends up shooting him in the foot and stuff like. I hated that scene. I thought that scene was just stupid. I never was a fan of that scene personally. I didn't like that one. Does anyone know the scene I'm talking about? I just didn't like that scene in The Sopranos. So if you're asking me which episode I didn't like the most, it's probably that one. Do I know about Bo? Wait, what is that, Daniel? Thank you for the super chat. A new Watch Dogs game would be perfect now with the AI being what it is today and stuff. Also, do you think the movie will be canceled? That's a good question. I never even thought about that. The series is canceled. What about the movie? The movie's in production, so that's a really good question. I gotta look into that more. I'll have a video on that, Bunny. I don't know when, maybe later in this week, but I'll talk about that. That's a really good point. I never even thought about the movie being canceled. I know the game series is canceled, but thank you, Bunny, for the super chat. I gotta think about that. They're making a movie about Watch Dogs? Yes. The movie was gonna be the first Watch Dogs game. So the first one with Aiden Pierce, where he takes down Lucky Quinn in the club. That was gonna be the movie Watch Dogs. And I remember that the guy that they got to play Aiden Pierce, he was okay. I didn't think he looked exactly like Aiden Pierce, but it was okay. You can look up like the cast for it. But it was supposed to be the first movie, like the first game. It was in development for some time. Do I have a favorite episode in Breaking Bad? Probably not, Austin, because I can't... I have not seen every single episode of it, so I can't tell you all of it. I will say, though, maybe my favorite episode, or my favorite scene, maybe, I can tell you at least my favorite scene in Breaking Bad. My favorite scene in Breaking Bad is probably when Walter blew up Tuco's office. That was probably my favorite scene. Was Ray Pacino based off anyone in The Sopranos? He was based on Ralph. That's who he was based on, was Ralph. No, I haven't, Ty. Who's the best villain in The Sopranos? Mine is Phil and Richie. Yeah, we can help him out too, but how many more sales are we doing here? Who am I helping right now? I'm helping Fixated. Fixated, how many more sales do you got, dude? Yeah, I think Phil is probably the best villain in the series. Yeah, probably. If you were a criminal, would you work for Gus Fring rather than Hector? If I had to choose who I had to work for, yes, I would much rather work for Gus than work for Hector. And the reason I would rather work for Gus over Hector is because Gus, as long as you're doing everything that Gus requires of you, he's generally going to treat you with respect and isn't going to screw you over. But Hector, on the other hand, Hector, you could be doing everything that he wants you to do, and he's gonna treat you still like garbage. You are disposable to him at any time, really. Hey Pro, I recently started learning Polish because my girlfriend is Polish and speaks it fluently. And I gotta say, I knew Slavic languages were hard. Polish is just on another level. Yeah, Polish is very difficult. Uh, and I will say this: the reason I'm able to speak Polish is because I learned it from my parents talking to me when I was growing up. I still have problems reading it. I never really read stuff growing up with my parents, and so because of that, I can't really read Polish that well. But I can speak it fluently. But yes, Polish can be a very difficult, very, very difficult language to learn. The funniest scene in Mafia the Old Country, Okay, JBK, listen, I'm gonna help, Fixated sell these other 3 businesses, and then when I'm done helping him sell these 3, businesses, I am going to help you with your heist. That I learned both at the same time, or English first, mostly English, but the thing is, when I speak to my parents today, right, I speak to my parents in Polish, if that makes sense, which is a combination of both English and Polish. So basically, how my parents talk to me, my parents will say half of the sentence in Polish and half of the sentence in English. That's how my parents talk to me today. That's how I communicate with my parents, but we fully understand each other, so that's how my parents will talk to me. Like they'll say like a bunch of words in Polish, and then they'll have like a few English words in between. That's basically how they my parents talk to me. What did I just get shot by? I got shot, but I don't even know by what. Well, an example, my mom was talking to me the other day, and she said to me, "Kup printer ink na Amazon." That's what my mom said to me. And so that's basically in, half Polish and half English. And what my mom basically said to me is she said to me, "Buy printer ink on Amazon." That's what she said. So that's how my parents will usually talk to me. Is like half the sentence will be in English and half the sentence will be in Polish. But the thing about that is that's not really weird, because I've noticed that like a lot of kids that grow up in immigrant households, their parents speak the same to them. That they speak half the sentence in English and then half the sentence in whatever their primary language is. One of my best friends growing up, his parents were from the Dominican Republic, and his parents did the exact same thing as my parents, but the only difference is they spoke half Spanish and half English instead of half Polish and half English. Hey Pro, really bad storm in Portugal right now. 9 dead and 1 million without water and electricity. Oh man, that's horrible. What is this, like a typhoon? What kind of storm is this? What is this? Or is this a snowstorm? You are raised wrong. You are pure evil. You understand me, boy? I think that you're just trolling. There, that kind of comment was that one there. On pure evil. What is that? Can I speak Japanese? No. The thing is I have played Yakuza so much that when I played Yakuza so much, I have learned 2 words in Japanese from Yakuza, and it's nani, which nani means what. Like I've heard the characters say that so much, and then they arigato, that means thank you. So I know that I just learned those 2 words from just watching the characters speak so much. Is any difference between accents in all states? Some state accents are very similar, very. But then other places people talk very differently, very very differently. Like I will tell you, for example, like one thing that I find very unrealistic is that Hitman, for example, Hitman Absolution takes place in the Midwest. Specifically, it takes place in what is it, Western South Dakota, and all of the characters in that game do not have South Dakota accents. None of the characters, even the characters from South Dakota, none of them have South Dakota accents. They all have Southern accents. And so I can't believe the developers kind of messed that up. They assumed that people in South Dakota speak with Southern accents when they're not Southerners. Yeah, so that was one thing that I thought was really unrealistic in, like, Hitman Absolution. But it depends. Like, their Southern accents are very noticeable. And even in the Southern accents, there's very different types of Southern accents. Like, a Texas accent, for example, is very different than a Louisiana accent. And then that's very different than a New York accent. I can do one video game character's accent, but it's a little hard to do this one. I was forced to learn 3 languages at the age of 5. Oh man, that can be overwhelming. That's... But let me try to do this accent. This one's a little hard to do. If I butcher this accent, don't make fun of me. Somebody tell me in the comments what character's accent I'm doing here. This one's gonna be a little hard. Let me think the line that he says in the game. Let me just think about a line that he says. The American people are worth fighting for. I won't let you stand in the way of progress. Once we turn on the purifier, the masses will flock to the Enclave. That one's a little hard to do, that one. I can do it a little better if I really try, but that one is, that one's hard to do. Do I drink or smoke? No. I don't smoke anything. When it comes to drinking, I will drink like a glass of wine or champagne once a month. Colonel Autumn, yes, from Fallout 3. And the thing about Colonel Autumn is that Colonel Autumn has a Louisiana accent. That is what his accent is. It's specifically from Louisiana. So, like, if you ever wondered, like, Colonel Autumn has like a strange accent, like, what accent is that? It's a Louisiana accent. And the thing about the Louisiana accent, the Louisiana accent actually traces its roots back to the French American accent. So that's what the Louisiana accent kind of is. It has its roots in the French American accent, because Louisiana used to be, you know, primarily the primary people that used to reside there were French Americans, and so that accent kind of developed from that specifically. So that's it. So it's never been explained why Colonel Autumn has a Louisiana accent. I wish they would have explained that a little bit better, but he clearly has a Louisiana accent. That's where he's from. So I wish they would have explained that a little bit better, why he has that accent specifically. Another character that has the Louisiana accent is, what's his name? The evil doctor in L.A. Noire. What's his name? Is it Fontaine? The evil doctor in L.A. Noire, the therapist guy. He has a Louisiana accent as well. I know that. Thank you, Ferris. Thank you, Daniel Rodriguez. Thank you, Erish, for the super chat. No, I don't. Yes, yeah, Fontaine does have a French-sounding name. Yes, he does. The American people are worth fighting for. I'm trying to do that accent. I used to be able to do Colonel Autumn's accent better back in the day, but I kind of suck now. Do I know that French and Spanish languages are related? Yeah, they are Latin languages. Thank you, Aaron, for the super chat. That isn't me in chat, by the way, guys. It's an impersonator. What U.S. president has the most aura? What do you mean by that, Daniel?
Cryptocurrency received, so I guess we have a sale.
Aura is basically looking cool. Yeah, he's gone, sure. What's wrong, OGB member? What's your question, Extreme? Aura equals swagger coolness. Okay. Isn't that a mobile game, Mournful? Okay, Austin. Hey, Gilted. Yeah, probably Teddy Roosevelt. Probably the president has the most aura. Oh, I'm not driving this one, but it's... Yeah, this is a BMW car, I think. Storm in Portugal is depression. At least in Portuguese, depression, Kristen is the name. A lot of heavy rain and very strong winds. Well, I hope everything's okay and you guys get through that. Is Men of Valor worth playing? Yeah, I would say it's a fun game. Well, what do you mean, Hakeem? I usually stay mostly out of politics. I tend to stay out of that. When was the best time for Enzo to leave with Isabella in Mafia, the old country? During the War of Spadaro. That was the best time to leave. What do you mean, Gunner?
It's sick.
Yeah, Dead Rising 3, I'll play through it one day. Yeah, I might talk about that because it is Rockstar related, Hakeem. How do you feel about First Amendment auditors? Are you talking about those guys that like try to provoke the police and like they're doing like a test to see how the police would respond and if they would like get cited or arrested or detained. Is that are those the guys you're talking about here? Suhaib? Well, the thing is, he didn't really necessarily, go for Isabella. Isabella more, wanted to be with him. That was more how it was. No, I don't think I did Shining Knight. I can take a look at it a little bit later. So, listen, about those First Amendment auditors, right? Some of those guys can make interesting videos, but other times some of those guys can be annoying. Sometimes those guys are intentionally trying to provoke the police. What those guys might do is those guys might, like, off camera say, like, a bunch of nasty things to police, cause a disturbance in public, and then they only start recording right when the police show up, and then they try to make the police look like the villain. People do stuff like that. And cops are trained to deal with stuff like that. They know that there's people out there that are trying to provoke them and get a reaction. But what I will also say about those First Amendment, like, auditors, about those guys, is that a lot of times, if you look at their channels, right, they usually don't have any videos talking about, like, the Second Amendment at all, like, nothing. And so, like, on their channels, they're like, oh, we're big constitutionalists, we support the Constitution and all this other stuff, but then when it comes to gun rights, not a peep, nothing, zero, nothing. And so the way I see it personally is you can't call yourself a strict constitutionalist unless you defend the entire Constitution. If you're only defending free speech, but then you're not defending gun rights, then you never really were a constitutionalist in the first place. That's the way that I look at it personally. Let's go through here. The professional, I don't like you. And that's fine, I don't like you either, it's a free country. Professional, can I tell you an interesting fact about the car company Ford? What is that? Are you gonna talk about how they were involved with Hitler and the Nazis? That part I do know about. That Ford had business dealings with Nazi Germany before World War II. Okay, let's get over to this here. They own the Great Lakes, what is it, cargo ships on the Great Lakes. I did not know that, Arcade. You don't like me? I don't care, kid. Well, then we're in agreement. I don't care either if you don't like me. Pro, do you ever go to shooting ranges? I took my friend to one today. It was his first time shooting guns. When you take somebody to the shooting range for the first time, just make sure I'm sure you already know this. You don't need me to tell you this. Just make sure you practice extreme safety. Because people get scared the very first time that they shoot guns, and they can be very reckless with them. There we go. Is this your final one? JBK, if you could get your heist ready, I'll help you with your heist. Well, I think it's wrong, Gunner. You know, you don't have to agree with a president and everything. Teddy Roosevelt did accomplish a lot of good in his, you know, presidency, but doesn't mean he was right in everything. No, I know the mission you're talking about, Sarajevo 6, but I never played it in Hitman. I'll look at it, Shiny Knight. Well, yeah, he did really good with that, Gunner. Yeah, human traffickers are the worst of the worst. Why was Splinter Cell Conviction hated? I don't know. I never disliked the game. Thank you, Isaiah, for the super chat. I didn't have any problem with it. Well, it'll be scarier if you combine a hybrid of a lion, bear, and a tiger. Well, probably a tiger and a bear together, because it'd be so quick as a tiger, but as ferocious as a bear. SOCOM 3 will be in the springtime this year, Chaos. And also Ace Combat Zero, the Balkan conflict. And then we're also going to be doing Medal of Honor European Assault. Would you argue that corporations in pre-war in America and Fallout resembled trusts in the 1900s? Yes, very much so. Have you heard the argument that the Second Amendment was only for flintlock weapons and not modern weapons? People are morons who think this. You know what the best comeback that you have against that point is, if you look at the Federalist Papers were written a lot by James Madison, and James Madison is the guy who actually wrote the Second Amendment. In the Federalist Papers, he makes it clear that Americans should own the same weapons of the armies at that time. That's what he says, the armies of that time. And so, judging, the founders knew that weapons were going to be more advanced over time. Okay, can you invite me, JBK? I'll help you with your heist now. Professional, do you know that Bulgaria's leader hated the German dictator in World War II, and there's a theory that he was poisoned by the dictator? Well, that I don't know that much about. I know that Bulgaria was an ally of Germany during World War II, but they didn't really do much. Okay, JBK, let's do your heist. If Teddy Roosevelt was alive today, what would he think of the corporations in America? Well, he'd be getting pissed, but I think that I think that the thing that would piss Teddy Roosevelt off the most if he saw America today probably be both parties. Because when Teddy Roosevelt was running for president, the final time he tried to run, when he ran as a bull moose, candidate, he hated both parties. He hated both the Democrats and the Republicans. Like, he just despised both parties. And I think, like, when he sees, like, this huge partisan, politics in America, I think that's what he would probably hate the most. Has any fans ever come up to you? Not really. People have recognized me before, but not, like, necessarily approached me. Well, the biggest gaming disappointment for me was Black Ops 7, but I... Yeah. Invite me in the heist, JBK. Wait, what are we doing? We're selling stuff? Okay, we don't talk about Black Ops 7. Yeah, Black Ops 7 was terrible. I haven't really messed around with the GTA mission creator. Okay. Ghost Recon Wildlands will be this year. Got a lot of games planned for this year, but it'll be this year. Yes, Skull? My day's good, Jeremy. How are you? Have I played American Fugitive before? No. I think I know the game. That's the game where you're trying to avoid the police and you're trying to escape. And I think you're innocent, right? And you're trying to prove your name cleared. I need help. Well, Skull, you don't have to wait for me specifically. Avenge or Porsche Addict. If you guys are free, can you help Skull? No, I haven't watched it, Void Jack. Should Rockstar stop doing gold medal objectives in future games? I do agree with you, it is annoying. And here's the thing is, I don't mind Rockstar keeping the gold medal thing, but if they're gonna keep the gold medal thing, just don't make the cutscene part of the timer, because I always found that stupid that the cutscene was part of the timer. I never liked that. Thank you, Jesus. Harper being alive in Black Ops 7 could have made sense if they said Harper fell into a coma from being shot and the bullet didn't reach his brain. Yeah, but that would have been a bit cringe too, Kyle. that as well. But what they basically were going for is that Chloe apparently got kidnapped, so that means that it means both Mason and Harper failed, and then Mason didn't even do the Strike Force mission to save her. He just left her, which makes no sense. I don't really do many reaction videos. JBK, how many things are you selling? Black Ops 7 was a disaster. I don't know what they were thinking. The Strike Force to save Chloe was not canon? Yes. Apparently Mason just abandoned her. That's apparently what the lore is, that he just didn't even do it. He let her get kidnapped, and then he didn't even save her. That's apparently what they went for with the canon in Black Ops 7, which was just stupid. Like, why would Mason abandon Chloe? It makes no sense. JBK is only selling the coke? Okay. We'll do your heist there right after this then, JBK. I don't think I've heard Angry Video Game Nerd. No, I don't think I've heard of him. What do you think of the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850? Why did Congress pass that act? Well, here's what I'll tell you about the Fugitive Slave Act. The Fugitive Slave Act basically shows you how hypocritical the southern states were. Because the southern states, they would argue, oh, it's our states' rights, to secede and all this other stuff, and they would say that, the North was interfering in our states, they were passing laws in our states that we didn't want it. But what the Fugitive Slave Act was, it was a southern federal law that was basically forced on northern states. So the southern states did like federal power, but when it benefited them. And so what the Fugitive Slave Act basically was is that if a slave had escaped from a southern state, this was before the Civil War, and they had escaped to a free state, like New York, for example, the state in New York would have to cooperate with southern authorities in order to arrest that person and then deport them back to the southern state. And if you were if you hid an escaped slave, you would be thrown in jail. That was the punishment under the Fugitive Slave Acts. Okay, I'll see you, parents. Take care, man. What are some things you miss about New York? The only thing I miss about New York is that it was easy to, go to every store that you needed to. But, that's about it. That's it. Do I have any pre-workout meals? No. I used to eat that, those factor meals. Those, like, ordered those and ate those. But I don't know what the hell has anybody here ate Factor before me? Like, Factor are like those home cooked meals. You just basically put them in the microwave, you order them. Like, I tried that for like a few months, and what I'll say about Factor meals is some of the meals I liked, but the chicken was always disgusting. I never liked the chicken. Like, it was not seasoned at all. Like, they're like preparing a meal for you that you're supposed to put in the microwave, but there's no seasoning whatsoever in it. And so I've ate the chicken a bunch of times. I didn't like the chicken. That was from Factor.
Jesus Christ! Oh! Oh! Shit! Cabrón!
Have I played Diablo? No, I know the game. Team Taco is an excellent pre-workout meal. Yeah. Yes, they are, Fernando. This may be a random question, but is it possible seeing a person who is half Jewish, Japanese, Spanish, Polish, Arabic, and Greek? But that question itself doesn't make sense, because how would you be half of that many nationalities? You're only half of two nationalities. If you're half of something, I'm confused. I'm just like you can't be half Spanish, half Japanese, and half Polish if it's half of you. That's you could be like a quarter Polish, a quarter Japanese, and a quarter Spanish, but to be half Spanish and half Polish and half Japanese at the same time, that doesn't really make any sense. Can you tell me more about factor meals? Factor meals are basically these home-cooked meals. Like they come in like refrigerated boxes, and you just gotta put them in the microwave. That's it. No cooking required. Some people buy them just for convenience because you don't have to cook anything. What's your question, Zach? What's in the fridge after the stream? I don't know. I don't know, Todd.
What? Fuck!
Why were Waffen SS soldiers most likely to get executed than Wehrmacht soldiers? Aren't they all the same? No, they are not all the same. Thank you, Free Hasey. Thank you for the super chat. Freshy. If I'm pronouncing your name correctly. No, I don't eat factor anymore. Okay, here's the thing is, people really weren't drafted into the SS. The SS was Hitler's most elite unit of soldiers, and they were the most fanatical to the Nazi regime. These were Nazi, party members. Not everybody that was in the Wehrmacht was a Nazi party member, but pretty much every single person in the SS was a Nazi party member. And that's the difference between them. The SS were the guys who ran the concentration camps during World War II. That's who the SS were. And so there's a reason that like American soldiers would oftentimes execute them if they saw like the SS collar on them. That's a lot of times SS soldiers would pretend to be Wehrmacht soldiers. They would just throw away their SS uniform, put on a Wehrmacht uniform, and then surrender to the Americans. They did that a lot. If anybody knows the if anybody knows the story of Dachau concentration camp, I might be pronouncing it incorrectly, but the story is very tragic. But so Dachau was a concentration camp that was located in Western Germany, and the United States had liberated this camp. Now, a lot of concentration camps, when the U.S. was actually liberating them, the SS guards would oftentimes flee. And the camps, everybody was either dead in the camps, or there were still a few prisoners that were starved to death that were still remaining in the camps. But the Dachau was a bit different, because Dachau, the majority of the guards were still there when the U.S. actually came by. And while the Americans were approaching, the guards in that camp just kept killing more and more people before the Americans could get to the camp. And so they killed so many people, they burned people alive in that camp. It was really horrible, disgusting, evil. And when the Americans arrived, those same SS guards that were just murdering people routinely, do you know what those guards did? They immediately surrendered. They didn't even try to fight against the Americans. They just immediately surrendered. And what happened was they just said, oh, it's the Geneva Convention. We now have human rights. We're supposed to be treated, fairly under, accordances of international law. So imagine that. Like, you had, like, a bunch of guys that were just murdering people, slaughtering people, starving people to death, gassing people, and then the second that the Americans show up, those same murderers will basically just say, oh, it's Geneva Convention, we surrender, we're supposed to be treated, with international human rights and all this other stuff. You see how ridiculous that sounds right there after what they did? They basically expect to be treated with human rights as, Geneva Convention, as prisoners of war. Now, what the American soldiers, when they saw all the bodies in that camp, they basically got so pissed off, they took the camp guards around the camp and just shot them. They killed all of them, just executed all of them. And were the camp guards prisoners? Yes. But was that really a war crime? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, you could maybe make the argument they surrendered, they were prisoners at that point, but they were war criminals. These were not innocent people. These were murderers. These were butchers. And so I don't think that they basically expected to be treated as just regular soldiers, saying, oh, we followed orders, that was, we didn't have a choice, all that's BS argument, when they slaughtered so many people, so many, and these guys weren't even fighting soldiers, they were just murdering civilians, children. So like these guys are, like I said, the worst of the worst, and I don't blame those American soldiers at all for executing all of them, just gunning them all down. The SS guards definitely weren't expecting that. They thought that the Americans would just basically take them in as just prisoners, but the American guards just massacred all of them. And here's the thing I'll say about this: there was an investigation that was done when those SS guards were killed, and the investigation was basically trying to determine who executed the SS guards, and the prisoners at the camp, they knew which American soldiers killed the SS guards, but none of the prisoners in the camp wanted to say it, and for obvious reasons. And the thing is, the other American officers that were involved there, they knew which soldiers executed the SS guards, but nobody testified. Nobody said, who did it. They said, oh, we don't know who did it. But the reality is, command knew exactly who did it. They knew exactly which Americans had executed the SS guards. The reason that nobody was prosecuted over it was because who wants to prosecute somebody over killing a mass murderer? Nobody wants to do that. So that's the primary reason that why nobody was, arrested over that. They knew who did it. It was obvious they knew who did it, but they didn't prosecute anybody because they just killed a bunch of mass murderers. That was it. So, prisoners of war should always be treated fairly. But the moment that you become a war criminal, the moment that you start slaughtering innocent people and you start doing stuff like that, you have lost your prisoner of war status. I don't think you're a prisoner of war at that point. And I think that the Americans were justified in killing those SS guards. That's my viewpoint on it personally. You can't just slaughter innocent people and then surrender and say, "Oh, I'm a prisoner of war. Give me human rights now." That's not how it works. Let me see here. Pro, we need your opinion. Which borough in Liberty City has the most crime? We are thinking about increasing amount of patrol officers in the area. Oh, probably go to Hove Beach and clean up Hove Beach. Get rid of the Russian mafia in Hove Beach, Liberty City Police Department. Thank you for the super chat. Pro, why did Hitler and the Nazis hate Jews? Thank you, Survival, for the super chat. What the Nazis would do is that they would cherry pick Jewish people that were rich, and they would basically blame all of the problems on them. That is what they would do. They would specifically say, like, the thing is when the Nazis were coming to power, when the Nazis were coming to power, Germany was basically in ruins. Like, it was like economic ruins, I should say. Like, it was the depression was really bad in Germany at the time, and the economy was just completely bad. Like, it cost like 20,000 marks to buy a piece of bread. And so basically, the Hitler, what he did was he just said, oh, it was all because of the Jewish people. The reason that Germany is in such a, dire economic straits because of the Jews. And he would say that, oh, Jews betrayed Germany during World War I. It was a stab in the back myth that, they worked the Allies that betrayed us and a bunch of this other stuff. And that is where all of that stuff came from, basically. It was just a bunch of propaganda that the Nazis started pushing, basically blaming Jews for all of the problems, economic problems in Nazi Germany. Where are we going? Are we going in the front? Wait, what door are we going in on this one? Is this the front door? Thoughts on the My Lai massacre committed by American soldiers during the Vietnam War? That is the worst war crime in the Vietnam War, and not only is it was the worst American war crime in the Vietnam War, and it is the worst American war crime of the 20th century. In the 20th century, the My Lai massacre is the worst war crime the United States has ever done. But about the My Lai massacre, it was what a lot of people don't know about the My Lai massacre is it was actually an American helicopter pilot who stopped it. So he landed his helicopter, he threatened the American soldiers who were doing it, who were murdering Vietnamese civilians, and he tried to report it to his superior officers. A lot of his superior officers were ignoring it. The biggest mistake was that the United States did not prosecute the people involved in the My Lai massacre. There was only one guy that was prosecuted, a lieutenant, but then I think he got pardoned. So that was like the worst mistake that the United States did, is that it did not prosecute the people involved in that. And I think that everybody that, you know, all of the American soldiers involved in the My Lai massacres, they should have been hanged for that. Like, they should have, all of them should have been executed for that. But it was, like I said, American command, sometimes the U.S. government is its worst enemy. Sometimes it really is. Because with My Lai, you had so many innocent people die, but also that gave the communists so much propaganda. The communists in Vietnam, they used so much propaganda with the My Lai massacre against the U.S., and they basically tried to portray every single American soldier as some bloodthirsty, you know, child killer. So they definitely used that massacre for propaganda purposes. And to an extent, you can see why it was really effective, because American command did not punish the people that were involved with that, and because they didn't punish them, it made for the perfect propaganda to use against the U.S. Thoughts on the Rockstar Epstein files? Yeah, Sam Hauser and Leslie Benzies. It was just creepy and disturbing. I don't know what the hell is wrong with people. Like, why can't people be normal human beings? I don't understand. That's what I don't understand. But here's one thing that most people don't know about the My Lai massacre in Vietnam, and I'll tell you guys this: the worst massacre of the Vietnam War is not My Lai. It is the My Lai is the worst American war crime, but it's in Vietnam. But it's not the worst, you know, massacre of the entire war. The worst massacre of the entire war is the Hue City massacre. A lot of people don't know about that. And do you know who did the Hue City massacre? It was actually the North Vietnamese, the communists, against their own people. It was the Vietnamese who did it against their own people. It was specifically North Vietnam and the Viet Cong who did that. And in My Lai, around 500 people died in the My Lai massacre. In the Hue City massacre, between 4,000 to 6,000 people died. So literally, you had 10 times more people die in that massacre, but that massacre isn't as talked about as much. And the reason it's not talked about as much is because of the communist propaganda. That's the primary reason. Like I said, is that throughout human history, communists have always been the best at propaganda. Nobody has done more effective propaganda than communists. Even the communist propaganda is stronger than the Nazi propaganda. That is how effective the communist propaganda is. Communist propaganda is so effective at brainwashing people. They are better at doing propaganda than any other, you know, any other regime in history. But basically, because of that communist propaganda, that's the reason you've never heard about the Hue City massacre, even though it was the worst massacre. You've heard about the My Lai massacre, which should be reported, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it should be ignored. But you heard about that massacre way more than any other massacre in the Vietnam War. Why? The reason is because of the communist propaganda. That's the reason. You haven't heard at all about the Hue City massacre, when the Hue City massacre 10 times more people died. For anybody who has played Black Ops 1, if anybody played Black Ops 1, do you remember that mission, the Defector, where Mason sees Reznov for the first time again, like the hallucination Reznov? You know, in that part when you're going through the buildings and all those Vietnamese civilians are running through the buildings and they're all just getting mass murdered, just shot down by the North Vietnamese, that's the Hue City massacre. It was in Black Ops 1. That did happen. And in the documents, you can also read it in the documents for Black Ops 1. But that was the Hue City massacre. It was really, really bad. The reason that what happened with the Hue City massacre was that the North Vietnamese launched an offensive, and they were trying to take the city of Hue. Now, at first, the North Vietnamese were winning, but then the Americans started pushing them back, block by block by block, and the communists realized, we're going to lose the city. And so before the communists decided to retreat and abandon the city, do you know what they did? They said, we're going to kill every single person that could help the Americans. So anybody that they suspected of being anti-communist, any person that they suspected of being sympathetic towards South Vietnam or the US, they would execute. The Viet Cong and the NVA marched people outside of Hue City, marched them into mass graves that were dug, and they executed them, and just dumped all these people in mass graves. And the government of Vietnam to this day, I'll mute Lester here. The government of Vietnam to this day actually ignores that massacre. I might make a history short talking about this, like how I've done my other video game history, but like, the government of Vietnam today denies this massacre is real. Like, it's a clear fact that the massacre happened. The communists murdered, between 4,000 to 6,000 Vietnamese people, civilians mostly. And they basically say, oh, it didn't happen, or they will say, oh, mistakes happened. That's what they would say. It was like accidental killings and stuff like that. But it's clear that there was mass graves found. There was plenty of victims that were found. These were the communists. The Vietnamese did this against their own people. And so I personally think that it's You know, it's disgusting that, you know, history a lot of times is like covered up like that. Let me see, put this on fidelity here. Yeah, they ignored that massacre. And I know you're from Vietnam also, Minion, so you know about that. And Gunner is here also. Gunner also knows about the Hue City massacre. So that's basically it, is that, look, and I'm not here to, and guys, listen to me. I'm not here to sit here and tell you that the United States was right in the Vietnam War. I never at one point said the United States was right for intervening in the Vietnam War. The only thing I'm saying is that the communists have done pretty horrible and nasty things in the Vietnam War that's not talked about as much. Like, the narrative, the communists have spread so much propaganda. The narrative is, oh, the evil, you know, imperialist colonizing Americans are coming in and destroying Vietnam and murdering Vietnamese people, and the communists are heroic and are saving Vietnam and liberating it. That's the typical propaganda that you hear. And because this does not fit the narrative, that's the reason you don't hear about the communists ever killing their own people, because it doesn't fit the narrative. That's the primary reason. Like I said, communists are more effective at propaganda than anyone else. They are the best at doing propaganda. No one does better propaganda than communists do.
And we are in. As of now, a little time is a lot of money, people. You have struck gold, my friends, on the carts.
Okay, here we go.
I'll keep you updated on the gas, or more precisely, the explosion.
What do you think is worse, Cambodian genocide or Unit 731? Cambodian genocide. Unit 731 was disgusting and horrible, but Unit 731 killed somewhere around 100,000 people. The Cambodian genocide killed over 2 million people.
Boxes in here. Drill 'em if you've got the time, but I can't promise you there'll be anything good inside.
NVA caused the massacre in Hue. Yes, they did. They did. Did you watch the movie Logan? If yes, what's your favorite part? No, I didn't see it. It's the, no, it's a Wolverine movie. I didn't watch it. No, I didn't see that one, Nikki. Thank you, Nikki. Who's the voice of Kane and Lynch series? I actually don't even know. I'm such a big fan of the Kane and Lynch series, I don't even know who voices Kane and Lynch. What's wrong, Sagesta? You said forget it. You want to ask me something?
The hacking team can hold off the gas a little while longer. There's still some rich pickings in there.
Okay. Kane and Lynch 3 is probably never coming out, dude.
40 seconds. Seconds. 20 seconds left. Don't dawdle.
I'm gonna get one more box and then going.
10 seconds. That's it. Get the hell out of there or you're dead.
Damn, okay. Time to get out.
Looking good. Get all that across the finish line and we're home and dry. You'll need to sync your keycard swipes on the way out too.
Swipe. Thoughts on the Berlin Conference? I'm not familiar with that, demigod. What?
They've reinforced the security room and that's your only way out. Get ready. Upstairs, the route's open back to
That's why the Vietnamese government denied any involvement of the NVA in the massacre. And like I said, Minion, it does not fit the narrative. It does not fit the narrative that the communists were so, you know, heroic, saving their country from the evil Americans. And so, of course, they're going to cover that up. You make this look easy. Well, thank you.
You piece of shit! Those bags look heavy.
My weekend was good. How was yours, dude?
Very satisfied. You know what they say? In the event of emergency, leave all valuables behind and do not use the elevators. Oh well, never mind. We've got some heavy chatter on the police frequencies. Sounds like they're sending noose.
I'm loading up. Ah!
Stay away!
Cock-sucking piece of trash! Cocksucker! What? Hey, go! He's down!
Home stretch. I feel so alive. I even think my eczema's clearing up.
Keep him busy! Go, go, go! Take cover! Time to reload! Hold it right there!
Okay, wait, somebody... And you guys don't want to get the extra cash? We're going out through here? Okay, if you don't want to go out through the roof, okay. We'll go out through here then. What's the first thing you're going to do in GTA 6? Open up the map. I want to see what the map looks like. Daily stream PSA. Be sure to get your salted channel churros and chicken nuggets from its bulking season. Also, do you think the files will affect GTA 6? No. I don't think the files are going to affect GTA 6, but it's, investors might have some questions. What would be your ideal ending of Kane and Lynch saga? Would it be with both of them dying, but they redeem themselves with their deaths? No. I don't want to see either Kane and Lynch die. The thing about Kane and Lynch is Kane and Lynch have done some horrible things, like some really, really horrible things. Like they are not they're I can make the argument that Kane and Lynch even did worse things than the GTA characters. So like those guys have just done some really horrible things. But despite the horrible things that Kane and Lynch have done, one thing I will say about them is that all the evil things that Kane and Lynch have done, I think they kind of did redeem themselves. Because killing Shang-Chi, like, that guy at the end of Kane and Lynch 2, like, all the evil things they've done, they kind of redeemed themselves by killing Shang-Chi. Because by killing Shang-Chi, they literally saved thousands of people. Literally thousands of people that would have been killed under him. Like, the amount of people that Shang-Chi would have killed over time, like, it's just... Well, that was banned after the war, and you can't do something like that, Speaker. The train disaster the Soviets tried to cover up. No, I'm first time I'm hearing about this. Why did they try to cover it up, Liberty City? But my ideal ending of Kane and Lynch 3 is that, Kane and Lynch 3 has some kind of evil villain again. And how Kane and Lynch 3 should end is that Kane's ending would be that Kane would go back to his daughter Jenny. That would probably be Kane's ideal ending. And I think, you know, I would like to see an ending like that. For Lynch, I think Lynch's ideal ending would probably be where he finds like a girlfriend that he falls in love with and he stops being so crazy. I think that would be his ideal ending. And just gives everything, all the crime and all the other stuff up. Because the thing about Lynch is, you have to remember, Lynch was a psychotic person, but then when he met Sue, you know, the love of his life, he stopped being so psychotic. He was still a criminal, but his psychotic tendencies calmed down, and then after he died, he went crazy again. So, like, I think that would probably be Lynch's, you know, perfect ending. I don't know how they escaped that, Gunner. That's a good question. Five stars, okay. My god, look at this, yep. Oh, crap, that was close. Okay. There we go. Got it.
Lose the cops. If we take them to the buyer, this is all for nothing.
Todd, don't shoot. You're gonna get cops again. There we go. Nice work. Nice work. Okay, let me look at the comments here. Didn't Jenny hate Kane for what he did in the first game? I think their relationship is broken beyond repair, despite Kane's insistence on mending it. The thing about Kane's relationship with Jenny is, I think that Jenny did respect him more because he went to go save his men at the end of Kane and Lynch dead men. I think that is the canon ending, because I don't think Lynch would have ever talked to Kane again if he left with the helicopter. So I don't think that is the... I think the canon ending is where he goes back to save his men. And in the final mission of Kane and Lynch 2, he leaves Jenny a voicemail, so he still has contact with her. If you ever wondered in Call of Duty World at War historical mod where the Charlemagne division was, they were actually in the mission Eviction. They are not in Reichstag. Well, they would be in the Reichstag in reality, but I didn't know about that for a Shacy. As much as we hate Dimitri from GTA 4, let's be honest, he's the best villain ever in GTA, and deal ending is more impactful and makes us hate him more. Yeah, and I later this year, when I have time, I want to do it before GTA 6 comes out. What I want to do is I want to reach out to Dimitri's voice actor, and I want to interview him, because people always interview the main protagonist, but they never interview the antagonists. I want to interview, like, Dimitri's voice actor for GTA 4, and just, like, ask him about the character, like, what he knew about the character, like, his thoughts on him and stuff like that. I always wanted to do that. I don't know if he would accept doing an interview with me, but it's worth a try. Oh, we almost had the 80 headshots. We were close. Oh, would I make a lore video about Ryder? I already have. Yeah, I already have made a lore video about Ryder. Hang on, let me post it for you in the chat. Okay. This video is actually pretty popular. Oh God. What, the video was copyright claimed on what? Okay, hang on. I just realized the video got a copyright claim. Erase. I'm gonna erase the song here. It's stupid. This video's been up for like a year, and I just realized that's a copyright claim, and I got copyright claim for that stupid cutscene where Ryder was cooking drugs in his kitchen. Oh my God, this is some song playing in the background. Why do I always get this is the thing about copyright, guys, is if you have like a video up for like a month, right? And it does not get copyright claimed, they should not be able to make copyright claims against you. Sometimes I have videos that have been copyright claimed for years, and I don't realize it until years later. Like, so it's like they should not be able to copyright claim you after that. That's stupid. But it's still watchable. Hold on a second. Here we go. This is the Rider lore video that I made. For people that wanted to watch the Rider lore video, I'll pin it too. This is the Rider lore video. Yeah, and I don't like that extreme. I always like the disk drive. But guys, I guess I will be what is it here? I guess I'll probably be wrapping up the stream here. Did you guys want to ask me anything before I go here? They copyright for the music that's playing in the background, Ghost Studio. Companies always do this. They're scum. Why were they trying to cover it up, Liberty City? What's the craziest thing you did, Austin? What's my dinner? I don't know. Look at my super chat. Oh, you made a super chat, Splans? I'm sorry. What's your opinion on 2000s Eminem? He was really popular when I was like a kid. I remember like Lose Yourself. That song was so popular. Lose Yourself. That was really popular. Was also he did a lot of songs for Modern Warfare 2, the original Modern Warfare 2. Like Call of Duty did a lot of his music too. Yeah, his music was pretty popular. Yeah, was that part of the Iroquois Confederacy OGB member? When is Fallout 5 coming out? Not for a couple of years. And honestly, I will tell you this. If Fallout 5 is the next Bethesda game, I'm going to be pissed. And the reason I'm going to be pissed is not that I hate Fallout. I love Fallout. But I want Elder Scrolls 6. Now, where the hell is Elder Scrolls 6? Like, you know, it's been since 2011 Skyrim came out. It's been over 15 years. We want Elder Scrolls 6. Where is it? People have been waiting longer for Elder Scrolls 6 than for GTA 6. That's what people don't know. Eminem dissed his mom that she sued him? What? Let's hope the next Modern Warfare game will have enemies, multiplayer faction instead of allies and spec ops. Have the lore instead of allies. Yeah, and I really hope they do DMZ too, because I'm really looking forward to that, Nikki. Thank you for the super chat. Difference between early 80s, mid 80s, and late 80s? I don't think really much. Maybe the music, if anything. Probably Barbarossa, or actually, I don't know, Slick. The Second Sino-Japanese War lasted for, what, 8 years? So probably that was actually probably even worse than Barbarossa. It was the Soviet military in those trains. Oh, okay. There's no trailer 2 for Elder Scrolls 6. The last trailer that we had for Elder Scrolls 6 was in 2018. 2018 we had a trailer for Elder Scrolls 6. Okay, guys, so I guess I'll be going here. On Wednesday, we're gonna do another stream on Wednesday. But on Wednesday, we're gonna finish up the gang territories in San Andreas. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna do the triathlons, those that you guys wanted me to do. So I'll play Detroit Become Human. Maybe this year. In Cold War, enemy factions are enemies in the lore. Modern Warfare needs to have that. Yes. Yes, you're right, Nikki. Thank you for the super chat.